You're sitting at your kitchen table, coffee going cold next to a stack of papers from the Social Security Administration. You've worked 35 years. You've paid into the system every single paycheck. And now, right now, you're about to make the single biggest financial decision of your retirement. And here's the brutal truth nobody warned you about. Most people get it completely wrong. Not because they're stupid, not because they didn't try, but because the system is deliberately confusing. The rules are buried in government language that nobody actually speaks. And the one piece of information that could have saved them thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, of dollars, they found out about it 3 years too late. I'm Max, and today I want to have the most honest conversation I've had on this channel. Because if I had to go back and claim Social Security again, knowing everything I know now, I would change one thing, just one. But that one thing, it's worth potentially $180,000 over the course of your retirement, maybe more. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand Social Security in a way that most Americans, and honestly, most financial advisors, never fully explain to you. And you're going to walk away with a concrete decision framework you can actually use. Let's get into it. Why most people claim too early, and why it feels completely logical. Here's what I want you to really sit with for a second. The most common age to claim Social Security in the United States is 62. 62. That's the earliest possible age you can file. And I get it. I completely get it. When you hit 62, you've been working your whole life, you're tired, the money is right there, and the Social Security Administration is basically handing you a check. Why would you say no? Because here's what the SSA doesn't put on a billboard. Claiming at 62 permanently reduces your benefit by up to 30%. 30% for life. No takebacks, no corrections. If your full retirement age benefit is $2,000 a month, a number a lot of people are around, claiming at 62 drops you to roughly $1,400 every single month for the rest of your life. Now I know what you're thinking. Max, but I get more years of payments if I claim early. Doesn't that make up for it? That's the trap. That's the exact mental math that feels right, but is actually wrong for the majority of retirees. Let's do the real numbers together. If you claim at 62 and get $1,400 a month versus waiting until 67, full retirement age for most people born after 1960, and getting $2,000 a month, you break even somewhere around age 79. That's called your break-even point. And here's the thing. The average American who makes it to 65 is statistically expected to live past 85. For women, it's even longer, which means if you're reasonably healthy, waiting almost always wins. And if you wait until 70, your benefit grows by 8% per year past full retirement age. That same $2,000 becomes $2,480 a month, every month, for life. And when you pass away, your spouse could inherit that higher benefit as a survivor benefit. We're talking about decisions that ripple for decades. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because the decision of when to claim isn't even the one thing I wish I'd changed. Keep watching. The thing nobody talks about. Your earnings record. Let's talk about something that almost nobody brings up in these conversations, and it is absolutely foundational to everything. Your Social Security benefit isn't just based on your age when you claim. It's based on your 35 highest earning years. That's the formula. SSA takes your top 35 years of inflation-adjusted earnings, calculates your average indexed monthly earnings. They call it your AIME. And then applies a formula to get your primary insurance amount. That's your baseline benefit at full retirement age. Here's why this matters so much. If you worked fewer than 35 years, The SSA fills in the blank years with zeros. Zeros. Those drag your average down dramatically. A single extra year of solid earnings can replace a zero and push your benefit up by meaningful amounts. Sometimes $50, $100, even $150 more per month. For life. So here's the question I want you to honestly ask yourself. Do you actually know what your Social Security earnings record says right now? Most people have never checked it. I mean, really checked it. Logged into ssa.gov, pulled up their complete earnings history, verified every single year. And that's where mistakes hide. Employers make errors. Payroll departments mess up. And here's the chilling part. If an error sits in your record long enough, it becomes nearly impossible to correct. The records age out. Documentation disappears. This is something I want you to do this week. Not this month, this week. Go to ssa.gov, create your My Social Security account if you haven't, and look at your full earnings history. Check every year. Compare it against your old tax returns or W-2s if you have them. Make sure the numbers are right. Because if there's an error in there, and errors are more common than people realize, you want to find it now while you still have time to fight it, not after you've already claimed. The one thing I would change. Okay, here we go. This is the heart of the video. If I had to do it all over again, the one thing I would change is this. I would get a personalized Social Security maximization analysis done at least 5 years before I plan to claim. Not 1 year before, not 6 months before, 5 years, minimum. Let me explain why that timeline matters so much, because this is where most people, even financially savvy people, miss it completely. The decisions that determine your Social Security benefit aren't made when you file. They're made in the years leading up to filing, your earnings in those final working years. Whether you take on a part-time job in semi-retirement, whether your spouse claims first or you do, whether you coordinate with a pension, whether you understand the windfall elimination provision or the government pension offset, which can slash benefits for certain public sector workers without any warning. Whether you've set up your retirement income in a way that might inadvertently trigger taxation on your Social Security. Because yes, up to 85% of your benefit can be taxed depending on your combined income. All of these things are changeable if you know about them 5 years out. None of them are changeable after you've already claimed. This is what a proper Social Security maximization analysis looks at. It runs your specific numbers. It models different claiming scenarios. You at 62, you at 67, you at 70, your spouse at various ages, and it shows you the projected lifetime value of each strategy. And the differences are not small. We're talking about strategies that are separated by $50,000, $100,000, sometimes $180,000 or more in lifetime benefits, depending on your situation, health, and spousal dynamics. 5 years gives you time to actually implement what you learn. It gives you time to potentially work a couple more years to replace a zero or near zero in your earnings record. It gives you time to coordinate with a financial planner on your withdrawal strategy so you're not creating unnecessary tax exposure. It gives you time to make decisions about your spouse's benefit and survivor planning. 1 year before you claim, you're basically just picking from whatever hand you've already been dealt. The spousal benefit conversation. No one is having. I want to spend some time here because this is where I see the most money left on the table, especially for married couples. If you're married, Social Security is not just about your benefit. It's about both of your benefits, how they interact, and, critically, what happens when one of you passes away. Here's the rule that changes everything. A surviving spouse inherits the higher of the two benefits, not both, just the higher one. Which means that in a marriage, the single most important thing the higher earner can do is maximize their own benefit as much as possible. Because that benefit doesn't just serve them, It serves their spouse for potentially 20, 25, 30 years after they're gone. Let me make this concrete. Say the higher earner in the household has a full retirement age benefit of $2,500. If they claim at 62, that's down to roughly $1,750. If they wait until 70, that's $3,100. Now imagine the higher earner passes away at 74. Their spouse has another 15 years of retirement ahead of them. Over 15 years, the difference between a $1,750 survivor benefit and a $3,100 survivor benefit is over $238,000. That's the math. That's what's at stake. And yet, I can't tell you how many couples I've seen where both spouses just claimed as early as possible because it felt like the right move. No coordination, no analysis. Just, we're both 62, let's file. There are sophisticated strategies here. The lower earner might claim first at 62, bringing in some income while the higher earner delays to 70, letting that benefit grow to its maximum. It's not always the right move. Every situation is different. But the point is that the option exists and most people never even consider it. If you're married and within 10 years of retirement, you need to run these scenarios. Ideally with a fee-only financial advisor who specializes in retirement income. Not someone who earns a commission on products they sell you. A fee-only advisor. They're paid to give you advice, not to sell you something. The tax trap that blindsides retirees. Let's talk about something that a lot of people walk right into without seeing it coming. Social Security taxation. Here's the thing. A lot of people go into retirement thinking their Social Security benefit is basically tax-free. And for some people at lower income levels, it is. But once your combined income, that's your adjusted gross income plus any non-taxable interest, plus half of your Social Security benefit, crosses certain thresholds, up to 85% of your Social Security benefit becomes taxable. The threshold where it starts is $25,000 for single filers, $32,000 for married couples filing jointly. These thresholds have not been adjusted for inflation since 1984, which means every single year, more retirees get pulled into Social Security taxation just because of inflation, even though their real purchasing power hasn't changed. This is sometimes called bracket creep, and it quietly erodes the benefit that millions of people thought they were going to get. Why does this matter for the when to claim conversation? Because if you're doing large IRA withdrawals in your early retirement years, say between 62 and 70, you might be generating income that interacts very badly with your Social Security benefit once you do claim. The order and timing of your income sources in retirement isn't just a tax question. It's a Social Security question. They're connected. Some retirees benefit from doing Roth conversions in their early 60s before Social Security begins, converting traditional IRA money to Roth at relatively low tax rates. This reduces future required minimum distributions, which reduces future combined income, which reduces the percentage of Social Security that gets taxed. Done correctly over a long retirement, the math on this strategy can be extraordinary. But again, it requires planning that starts 5, ideally 7 to 10 years before retirement, not 6 months before you file. What break-even analysis gets wrong? I want to circle back and challenge something because I think the conventional break-even analysis that gets thrown around in these conversations is actually misleading in an important way. When someone says your break-even point is age 79, they're doing math that assumes both scenarios, claiming early versus claiming late, have equal uncertainty, like flipping a coin. And that's not quite right. Here's the thing about claiming at 62. You get smaller checks for a longer period of time. If you die early, you win the break-even game, But if you die early, you're dead. Your financial concerns are over. The people who benefit from the claiming early and dying young scenario are your heirs, not you. On the other hand, if you live a long time, and statistically, the chances of that are higher than most people realize once you've made it to 62 without major health issues. The person who waited gets substantially more money for every year of that long life. And crucially, that's the scenario where financial security actually matters. When you're 84 and your savings are depleted, when you're 87 and you need long-term care, when you're 90 and everything costs more than you planned. Social Security, at its core, is longevity insurance. It's the one income source you cannot outlive. And just like you wouldn't buy less fire insurance to save money on premiums, it rarely makes sense to permanently reduce your guaranteed lifetime income to get smaller checks a few years earlier. The exception, and it's a real one, is if you have serious health problems. If your doctor is telling you your life expectancy is genuinely shortened, the calculation changes. And for people in that situation, claiming earlier can absolutely be the right call. This isn't a one-size-fits-all video, but for the majority of relatively healthy people making this decision, the evidence overwhelmingly points toward patience. A step-by-step action plan. Let me bring this home, because I know it's easy to watch a video like this and feel like you have all this information, but no clear path forward. So here's exactly what I want you to do. Step 1. Go to ssa.gov this week and create or log in to your My Social Security account. Download your full earnings history. Check every year against your records. Flag any discrepancies and contact the SSA to correct them immediately. Step 2. Use the SSA's own online calculators to run preliminary estimates for different claiming ages. Plug in 62, 67, and 70. See the difference in your projected monthly benefit. Let that number land. Step 3. If you're married, run the same exercise for your spouse. Then think about the survivor benefit scenario we talked about. Who has the higher earning record? What's the strategy for that person to maximize their benefit? Step 4. Find a fee-only fiduciary financial advisor who specializes in retirement income, not just investments, but retirement income specifically, and have them run a comprehensive Social Security optimization analysis for your household. There are also dedicated Social Security maximization tools and consultants if cost is a concern. This analysis is worth every single penny. Step 5. Build a withdrawal strategy for your early retirement years that considers the tax interaction with your eventual Social Security benefit. If Roth conversions make sense in your situation, start modeling them now. And Step 6, the most important of all, do not make this decision alone, in a hurry, or by default. The people who end up in the worst Social Security situations aren't the ones who made the wrong choice. They're the ones who never really made a choice at all. They just filed when it felt like it was time, without running the numbers, without looking at the full picture. Here's what I want to leave you with. Social Security is one of the most powerful financial tools available to American retirees. It's inflation protected. It's guaranteed for life. And with the right strategy, it can form the backbone of a retirement that is genuinely secure, not just for you, but for your spouse and for decades to come. The one thing I would change is starting this conversation earlier, not waiting until the paperwork arrives, not figuring it out in the final months, getting the full picture with real numbers with time to actually act on what you learn. If you're under 65 and you haven't had this conversation yet, today is the day. Not because anything is broken, but because you still have time to make it better. If this video helped you think about any of this differently, share it with someone you care about who's approaching this decision. Because the difference between the right strategy and the default strategy can be life-changing. and most people just need someone to show them the numbers. I'm Max. I'll see you in the next one.